When I first saw the video of the Dalai Lama, which was a media manipulated video, my initial reaction, I'm sure like many of you, was of shock. I was almost taken aback. My reaction was a little strange and I felt like, hold on a minute, this is not the Dalai Lama that I know. But then my instincts kicked in and they said to me, if there's one thing that you have learned over the last few years is never to trust the media. And not only never to trust the media, never to trust mainstream propaganda. Because whatever the media wants you to believe, the chances are that the exact opposite is true. And I can't give you enough examples of where the media has been exposed about lying about things. We have seen this with COVID, for example. We have seen this with innumerable cases where the media has lied. So hold on a minute, this made me question, if I know that the media has a history of manipulating things, of contextualizing things in only the way that they want you to perceive it, then do I give in and let them win? Or do I actually take a step back and be like, hold on, what do my instincts say? What do my sort of inner I guess intuition, what does that say about what the Dalai Lama is doing? And the reality is that that was a fully media manipulated, sliced up video pushed by the propaganda of you-know-who to actually discredit a man who has given his entire life to humanity. It was aimed at showing him in a very weird, sexualized way, and in a way that I honestly feel is more a reflection of our minds, of how the Western world sees it, as opposed to his compassionate love as a granddad showing affection to a child. In Western news, we have seen countless examples of, let's say, pedophilia. We have seen countless examples of religious cults doing things wrong. We have seen countless examples of where people in society have taken advantage of younger people. And we threw the Dalai Lama into the same bucket as that. But ultimately, this is probably a reflection of our own insecurities. Our anger, our sort of distrust that we felt when seeing this video was a result of all of the microaggressions that we've probably had up until that point. And the Dalai Lama doing it just kind of reminded us, it just put us straight back into that same mindset of all of these more genuine things and really messed up things that have happened in the Western world, which are true. But there comes a point that you have to use your intelligence, you have to use your intuition, you have to use your initiative, that you can't mix two things which are just not at all in the same ballpark. They're completely different. What the Dalai Lama was doing was showing the kid genuine affection as a grandfather would. And for you out there who may be like, well, that's strange, my grandfather never asks me to suck his tongue, etc. Let me explain the cultural context of that. Now, I'm not Tibetan, but to some degree I am familiar with Tibetan culture. And in Tibetan culture there is a saying, "Chisela," which a granddad very lovingly says to his grandkids whenever they ask him for something. It's sort of like a bartering mechanism that, if the kid wants something from the grandfather says, oh, you can have these things, or if I've given you everything, then what's left? Only for you to eat my tongue, right? And it's meant to be this playful, humorous way. And no matter what culture you're from, that there are weird sayings that if you translate into English, it's like, what, right? In Gujarati, we have this saying, right, which says "Tel pi vaja," which basically means go and drink the oil, right? If you don't want anyone to do anything, you'd be like "Tel pi vaja," which basically means go and drink the oil, which makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm sure no matter what nationality you're from, there's going to be countless examples of sayings that actually make no sense in the English language if they were directly translated. And this is the case here. Not only was the video media manipulated, not only was it a propaganda pushed by mainstream parties, and I'm sure you know who is doing that, but it was a part of Tibetan culture to do this. And remember, the Dalai Lama is not proficient in English, he is self-taught in English. So when he was doing this, sometimes words mean same thing or similar things like eat and suck and all of these things. There is no point, there is no percentage of me at all that ever feels that this was done in a sexualized way, because it just simply is not true. And what is not true cannot be manipulated into being something which it is not, right? So ultimately this is a grandfather showing love in a compassionate way, and in a way where he treats other people who are not even related to him as his own, and he treats them in a really, really compassionate way, in his own cultural way, to say, eat my tongue, right? Which is meant to be this humorous way. And we all know that the Dalai Lama has had numerous humorous ways of speaking and engaging with people. There are countless videos of the internet where he's done this. So that's the other thing. There's a couple more points, right? Which is, why did he apologize? If he is not guilty, then why did he apologize? Now, the Dalai Lama understands that he is an authority globally, and if something is manipulated in the wrong way, even if he knows that it is not true, he will still apologize, because he doesn't want anyone else in the world to misconstrue something which was just done out of pure innocence. And if he didn't apologize, then perhaps doubt would have been even more. People would have said, oh, he's so arrogant that he never actually apologized. But he apologized because of how compassionate he is. He apologized because he knows he is innocent, but still, for the sake of the world, for the sake of the Western society who over-sexualized something which was purely done out of innocence and love and compassion, and he apologized for that. It's almost like he is apologizing for the insecurities and the craziness in our head, where we almost see something like that as being really sexual and really sort of perverted, when it's not even the case. So that's why I feel he apologized. I would like to end on two more points. First of all, for those who have not seen the full video, I highly recommend that you do, because when you actually watch the full video of the Dalai Lama, he then goes on to tell the kid about staying away from the bad people and only doing good in the world. And that is so fulfilling. But obviously the media doesn't show you that, because they have an ulterior motive and an ulterior agenda for a fragile, compassionate 87-year-old man who has dedicated his entire life to serving humanity. And isn't it crazy that 50, 60, 70, 80 years that this man has spent serving humanity, and one video, which is probably no more than 10-15 seconds, can discredit an entire legacy? Isn't that crazy? That you spent all of this time building something and showing boundless compassion to the world, and then this one video, which was an innocent act, gets misconstrued, you know, how messed up we are in many, many ways, and it discredits him, right? It's completely unfair. And for those who, you know, see it like that, I would probably urge you to take a second look. I'm not saying that there isn't crazy things out there in the world. I'm not saying that there hasn't been countless examples of sexual acts and religious cults, pedophilia. We've all seen that as true. But that is not in the same basket as this. It's completely different. And if that is true in all of those instances, then those people should have justice done to them. The last thing that I would say is you need to watch the entire video of the kid and the mother's reaction after, and I'll share it with you in this video, because you can clearly see how blessed they feel from having this interaction with the Dalai Lama. You can see for them it meant the world. So if for them it meant the world, if true Tibetans and those who know the Dalai Lama and who are associated with him and who treat him with reverence know that this was an innocent act, if it's something in the cultural context which is completely unacceptable, then what is the Western world to judge about a media manipulated 15-second video? It's totally bonkers. So I understand where you guys are coming from. I have seen the video. I initially did feel that sense of shock. How many examples do you need to see that the reality is that whatever mainstream media is pushing, the very opposite is probably true? So I hope that helps you contextualize this in a little bit more detail. Thanks for watching, and I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I'm just getting started and it would mean the world to me. Thanks a lot.
As we see His Holiness hold you and hugged you, so at that time, what do you feel?
You can only feel the positive energy, and I just can't express how good it feels.
Exactly.
And it was a really good experience meeting him, and it was unexpressible how blessed you feel when you get blessed by him. You feel very positive energy, and there's a lot of positive energy in you after you get blessed by him.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a very good experience. It was amazing meeting His Holiness, and I think it's a really great experience meeting somebody with such high positive energy. It's a really nice feeling meeting him, and you get a lot of that positive energy. It's not just like that, but once you get the positive energy, I think you're happier, and it's a better thing, and you smile a lot more. It was a really good experience overall.
I'm Dr. Payal Kanodia, Trustee M3M Foundation. We've been working in Dharamshala on this skill center which we started last year, and since then we were looking at seeking blessings from His Holiness. And today we got this opportunity, and especially when my family was there with me, and all the students who graduated from I Empower Academy of Skills were also present. We're totally blessed to have got these blessings from His Holiness. He came, addressed us in person, taught about peace that the world needs and how everyone needs to feel together like brother and sister.